Are we live? Okay, I guess we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Live. We are doing something a little different today. If you pop up in the chat, I didn't set up the link beforehand, so I know some of you are going to think there is no live tonight, but yay, we're live. Hello in the chat. Hi, Cynthia. Thank you for that. Hello, everybody. Okay, so here we go. The real OGs are here, link or not. Thank you so much, guys. I love you. Thank you for being here. I was really just bare minimum getting my light and my camera and my computer and everything set back up because what a weekend I had at Conscious Life Expo. Not only did I go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all day, and we're going to get into those details. I have a couple of notes here. Also, I went to the post conference, which is day 4, the day after, where there's like intensives. Now, I didn't go to any of the lectures on day 4, but I did an interview with Moulton Howe, got to go to a dinner with her last night. Ian, who's always here in the chat, I'm sure he's not here today because he's flying back to London. Getting to go to dinner with Ian and Linda Moulton Howe, and it's just so many amazing people to close out my weekend on Monday. And then today, I've been running around because if you were following along on Instagram, I was posting videos throughout, and my friend was using the Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses. So these sunglasses actually record. So if you were watching on my Instagram story, you were seeing from my best friend's point of view, my best friend Chelsea, she's frankincense on Instagram. And so then she has a show coming up tomorrow. If you guys are in LA, February 14th, Valentine's Day, 9 p.m. at the Bourbon Room in Hollywood. I'm going to be there hanging out. I'm inviting a lot of other cool people, cool astrologers, some people, some mystics, some artists, lovers, rock and roll, all of the things. So if you're in LA, please come. We are celebrating love, but the lover's archetype. And what better way to do that than with someone that I love and her husband showing their love, telling their love story as a burlesque show. How fun, right? Okay. So, wow, I am wiped out. You guys, I wasn't even going to clean the background. I had clothes all over here, but then Chelsea and her husband came over really quick. So I would have been too embarrassed to keep it as messy as it was. So you guys would have gotten the full thing. But here I am, bearing all, exhausted, very few hours of sleep, and I'm ready to tell you guys about this. So Conscious Life Expo was so fun, so cool this year. And one thing that I want to share, I have a ton of videos and I'm just going to kind of flip through, and hopefully this setup works out, that I was trying to in the very last minutes make sure that you'll be able to screen share from my phone all of these different videos from the expo. So we'll go through them pretty quickly because I have a lot of video. So first day at the expo, I don't know if you were looking on Instagram, but I looked really good the first day. I was in my full Leo-ness. My full Leo nature was out. And actually, not only was I doing interviews, I was doing interviews for a project that a friend is working on. So last minute, like 2 days before the expo, my friend messages me and says, like, I have a friend that's working on a pitch for a Netflix thing or whatever. And it's about subcultures. And do you want to like, they want to maybe do something with you for like subcultures. And I was like, oh, actually come to the expo and I'll introduce you to all these different people. And how about follow the life of a conspiracy theorist, where it crosses over to the UFO community, to the new age, to the spiritual, to the old spiritual community, to the mystics, to the physicists, to like, it's kind of like where I am, I cross over into so many things. Also, like my friend's show, where of course she's a shaman and a healer, but she's also an artist, a musician, a performer. So it crosses over into all these different worlds. So these cameras were following me, and we did interviews with Elizabeth April, Sarah Brexman Cosme, Evan Nathaniel Grimm, Adam Apollo. It was so cool. So I'm going to flip through, show you a bunch of stuff from day 1. So let's see. I hope this works. Look at this. I know this looks like it's going to be crazy, but I think it's going to work. Ah, okay. I can't see anything but my screen right now. So I'm trusting in the process. I cannot see the chat. So this was day one when we arrived at the expo. And so as you can see, this is from my friend's point of view. So this is my best friend's point of view there, and she's following me. Welcome to the expo. We're coming in.
Cool, I love it.
Oh, sorry, you guys can see me. Oh boy, right? I think I set it up that you guys can see me too. Sorry about that. So here we are coming in, getting acquainted with, this is our friend Tony. He's connected with the Mantis beings. You know, there's all these different alien crystal heads, but no one was making the Mantis beings.
Wow.
Look how beautiful. I love him. He's the sweetest. What a sweet angel.
So we are here. Tell us a little bit about what you created.
Yes, I created the first in the world praying mantis skulls. Nobody on Earth has them. And they are activated by this amazing 20 million-year-old amber.
Oh my God.
Yes, and if you look in the right
He has a
direction.
20 million,
Wow.
20 million year
Yes. 20
mantis
everything
fossilized. Okay, yes, some different stuff we're going through. Conference is just getting started. This is my sweet friend Natasha. She had a booth.
I love it.
Here's Fredo. This is us behind the scenes. Here we go, getting ready. Getting mic'd up. This guy, he's quite a character. Now we're walking into like the main expo room. Here's GFL. Here's my GFL girls.
We're live, honey.
I love them so much. Galactic Federation of Light Clothing. So they're such sweeties. This is my friend Chelsea. She's your avatar for the weekend. Okay. So this is a Shungite guy, Blake. I really love him. I met him in Contact in the Desert, and he really is the Shungite king. So we did like a little demonstration. Oops, sorry. We did a little demonstration. Oh, here's Althea. You guys know her. She does light language. So then we go back over to the GFL booth. And then do a cool little interview for that. I know the sound is not great when there's so many people. We came back to do the Shungite demonstration. Hold on. So we actually missed like the most important part here, but basically when you're standing like this and you're like one leg is off, if he pushes down on my arm, it won't go down. But then when I'm holding my phone and he pushes down on my arm, I'll fall over. And it's because the phone is actually breaking, disrupting your natural balance of your body. So that was, we actually missed, because it can only record for 1 minute. So we missed it. But then he did it again with putting the Shungite on my phone. And with the Shungite on my phone, I can resist it. See, it doesn't topple me over. So now I have the Shungite on my phone. And once again, I'm just assuming that you guys can see this. If not, see, look.
Interfere with her electrical system and her balance. A lot of people don't know that. Wow. 1, 2, 3, resist. Right now.
See?
So it's very important to protect.
When the phone is in my hands, I can't resist that. Okay, so we're coming through. Here's the different more Shungite, different ways you can wear it. Here's Mr. Miyagi. He's a little angel. I love him. He must be a Leo.
Great to see you. Look at you, Mr. Cool Guy. Leather.
With the leather and the little...
Where's the fire in the middle?
Has to be very Leo energy doing... Okay.
Oh, baby, that was a good one.
It's kind of like oregano oil, but less.
Exactly.
Stressful.
It's like nail polish.
It tasted like nail polish. I'm sorry. I can't do those type of things. This is my friend Lauren. Okay, we're coming through Alan Steinfeld interview. This is Chelsea again. This is how she's been recording, just with the glasses like that. How cool. Vivian Chouvet. Remember last year I told you that her activation like changed my life? But this is the thing. Okay, so we're coming to, I'm going to show you, we did a little Adam Apollo interview. This guy,
What is it? Tell me more.
the sound guys, truly
What is it?
keep...
We are here with the man who holds everything together, and Linda Moulton Howe wouldn't even come here.
The sound guy who holds everything together. This is like a dome that you listen. It's like being inside of a headphone, but it's a chair. The Solo Dome. GFL. Okay, we're coming through. Sorry, got here. We did a little Evan Nathaniel Grimm interview. Sarah Brexman Cosme. Elizabeth April. Okay, now I'm coming back. We went through day one. How do I get out? Sorry. I'm back. Okay. Hi guys. Okay, I hope that all worked. And I hope that thank you, Emma, for the super chat. Okay, the Shungite and everything worked. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so that was the videos from the first day. So that was like just... Now, I want to, before I get into like some of the second day and some of the other cool videos and stuff, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience there. So what is wild about going to these conferences is it's not just a regular conference, because it's all like healers, light workers, energy activators, all of these people coming into one place at one time. And it just shakes up your life like crazy. Last year, exactly 1 year ago, at Conscious Life Expo was the first time I'd ever gone to one of these, and I met Linda Moulton Howe, and I waited for 45 minutes like a creep, looking at her like, is she going to finish with this person? Once she finished with that person, I like went in and was like, please, Linda, can I get an interview with you for TikTok? She didn't want to. She was like, what do you mean like a TikTok interview? She's like, TikTok, what are you going to ask me? So then I convinced her, I was like, please. And thankfully she did it. And then that's what really led to this next journey, this next stage of my life, because through that, Ian, who's always here on Tuesdays in the chat, like I said, he's flying back home to England tonight. But then Ian, who happened to not be at Conscious Life Expo last year, then saw the video and connected me with Linda again, saw that I had a UFO experience. And then once Linda really took me in and appreciates what I'm doing and accepts me, as kind of a next wave of what she's done, that it was just life-changing for me, because then between her and Ian's support, they've introduced me to so many people, and the best people, because Linda has incredible, incredible, incredible discernment. So I didn't get to actually see her until the fourth day of the expo. That's how busy everything was. And so I am going to skip to that because that's just like cute there. Let's skip there and then we'll come back to day 2. So let's go to day 4. I was so exhausted. Okay. Let's go here. Okay, here. All right, we're back. So here's Monday. I was beyond wiped out at this point. I can't believe that I went back on the 4th day. So came back up. So these are like the intensives. So like when you go to something like Conscious Life Expo, you can buy like a day pass, a weekend pass, and then there's an additional 4th day, which has like extensive stuff. So I ended up doing an interview with Linda, which is actually not in this part of my phone. Let me see. Let me go. I'll find it after. Okay. So then we ended up going to dinner after.
Oh, that looks cool.
We're like, ooh, look at this table.
Or, where is Linda gonna sit here?
Yeah,
Here.
Linda, sit here at the head of the table.
Me and my Leoness, I'm like, where's Linda gonna sit? Oh, Linda's gonna sit here. Okay. I'll throw that under. I just put my stuff under. I was like, okay, well, that's Linda's seat.
Now remember, you see the plane.
And then here's Tony again, full circle with the Mantis beings. So he's telling now Linda about the Mantis beings. And he's talking about how basically she's trying to understand kind of where are they? What are they originating from? And he's telling her that actually the Mantis beings are so old and they're kind of like working at like the fabric level of reality. They're like working at like the highest dimensional levels. So then she's asking about the Mantis beings. Someone, and no disrespect ever, but someone said in a video, they responded to when I posted this on Instagram and said that the woman in the background looks like a mantis, the way she's like eating, that the mantis is like there with them. But I love that. Okay, so that was day 2. Also, let me show you. Oops. Okay, I'm going to come back. We'll talk a little bit about my experience with Linda. How wonderful. Okay. So I got to do a cool little interview with Linda, and you'll hear about it more in the interview, but basically on the last night, Sunday night, everything's shutting down of the conference. I'm going to fill you in on what happened in between, but I met up with Ian again, and Ian's like, well, we have to make time for you to interview with Linda. And I was like beyond wiped out because I was doing more than just a conference. I also had my friends in town and they were filming for their YouTube series, and I'm a part of the series with them. So I was like doing stuff before and after the conferences on those days. And so I was so wiped out by Sunday night. I was like, I don't know if I can even like pull something together to do an interview with Linda. And Linda's a machine. Like, she doesn't get tired. Every night, every time I'm at these conferences, it'd be 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I can't go anymore. I've been here 14 hours. And she's like, oh, yeah, like, sure, like, oh, have a great night. And then she'll just keep listening to different people's experiences. And one thing that I love about her so much is I've had a lot of experience with mainstream media, as you guys know, especially with the Harvey stuff, right? My Harvey Weinstein coverage. So with the Harvey stuff, I've met people from all the top places, all the, big, and not to call anyone out specifically. So, but these journalists don't treat people with the same respect that Linda does. I'm going to be honest with you, because I feel it a lot of times around journalists, like they see themselves as above me because of the type of coverage that I do or whatever, and whatever, that's their own thing. I don't care. I'm not internalizing anyone's bullshit. But one thing that I really noticed is like how Linda treats everyone with respect. She doesn't automatically judge or make assumptions about people before she listens to what they have to say. Like, say, for example, at Contact in the Desert, there was kind of like someone who I was not vibing with their experience. I feel like their experience was not ringing true to me. And I was also kind of judging the way that the person was maybe presenting the information and how they were being. And I kind of felt like, it's not something that I want to cover. It's not someone's experience that I feel like interviewing them about. And Linda, even still, was like, gave this person all the respect, did not write them off, listened to everything they had to say, asked appropriate questions, treated them with respect, didn't make them feel anything. And I was like, damn, you know what? That is a real journalist. That is a real, an icon. That's why I love her. And so Sunday night, Ian's like, oh, Linda's on the phone. Let's set up for you to interview. And I was like, I can't do it tonight. I can barely stand. I'm done. I was literally hiding at the GFL booth by that point. And so we're like, okay, come back tomorrow and you can do the interview with Linda. And so I'm like, okay. So then she's like, she gets on the phone and she's like, well, Jennifer, what type of stories are you working on right now? So maybe we can talk about something topical. She's like, let me know what you're going to be covering, what you're investigating right now. I was like, oh, Well, actually, one of the things that I'm kind of uncovering and about to do a video about is Sean Kirkpatrick. And as you guys know, I've already done a lot of stuff about Sean Kirkpatrick, how he was the chief of the AARO, the UFO department at the Pentagon. He's the one who did all these congressional hearings, and now he just retired in December. Well, when I posted a video about his retirement, some people in the comments were like, yeah, well, now look at his new job. Look at his new job. And I was like, wait, what's his new job? So I started investigating. His new job is interesting. So I tell Linda on the phone, I'm like, well, I've actually been covering, I'm about to do a video about Sean Kirkpatrick's new job. She's like, oh, and what is that? And I was like, oh, he works at Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee, the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee. And Linda goes, Oak Ridge? Oh, wow. And then she's like, oh, Jennifer, this is good. She's like, okay. And this is going to be like I don't know, what do the kids call them? What do the Gen Z call it? A canon moment where you have kind of like a life-changing moment or whatever. Linda says to me on the phone, she's like, well, Jennifer, if you want to interview me about this tomorrow, I want you to step up and start acting like a real reporter. And I want you to call Oak Ridge National Laboratory tomorrow and confirm that Sean Kirkpatrick is an employee. I want you to call them. I want you to tell them who you are. I want you to tell them that you're a reporter. I want you to sound professional. And you're going to tell them, does Sean Kirkpatrick work here? Can you confirm his job title? And can you confirm his job duties? And I was like, oh my God, wait, what, I can call? I can call? And she's like, Jennifer, you're going to need to start stepping up and with your journalism, because this is like the next stage and you need to not be scared. You need to not be scared and to call them and tell them who you are and what you're working on, because that's a federally funded place and you have a right to know and you have a right to be have that information confirmed to you. And I was like, okay, I'll do it, Linda. Well, I barely fucking slept because I kept waking up thinking about that. I was like, damn, Linda said, like, if you want to interview me about this tomorrow, then I want you to have like the journalistic integrity to confirm this 100% that this person works there before we comment on it. And I was like, okay, Linda. Yes. So I did. I called them. I mean, I could probably share my screen again and show you guys, but I don't know what the laws are with that. But I recorded. Okay, hold on. I'll show you for a sec. Let's see if it works. Do you guys see it? This is what I looked like hell.
So I just woke up and I'm going to be doing an interview with Linda Moulton Howe today. And you need
me looking crazy in my robe.
was reaching out to verify information regarding Sean Kirkpatrick's employment. I just wanted to confirm that he does work there and that his job title is Chief Technology Officer for Defense and Intelligence Programs.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to play that guy's voice. So I'm going to stop it there. But basically he says that they can't confirm that type of, they can't confirm employment on the phone. That line is not able to do that. However, he pointed me to like a website that can show like the job, look for the job listing. He said that it's all publicly available information online and directed me to the thing. So he is listed on their website and it actually gives a better description of his bio. So I have an interview with Linda asking about those things. So let me see, I'll find that on my phone because that's in a different app than I was just showing you guys. Look at her. She's such an angel. Oh, Sorry.
Absolutely wrong that there are no UFOs, there are no ETs. His energy of action is such a slap in the face of what he was hired to do 1 year.
Opened his own, but I was like, okay, I can do it.
Non-linear means not in a straight progressive line. And if they're now trying to come up with a new catch-all name for UFOs, why did they pick non-linear?
Oh, right. Let me see. What else do I have of Linda here? Anything else that is... You guys are all just up in my phone right now. That's okay.
I feel like they owe it to you at this point.
Well, it owed to all of you. I mean, we are doing documentaries. So somebody working with New York saying that they couldn't keep their battery belts charged, that is what made me start.
The angle is probably terrible of what that looks like, to be honest. I don't know what it looks like, but Haley said that it reminds her of when she tried calling the CIA to see if she could get a list of people banned in America. She just wanted to call everyone about everything. Well, that's funny. That's what Linda talks about in that interview too, is that in the beginning of her career, she actually called the CIA to investigate the UFO thing because she thought that that was their job, to help with the American people. And she said she was just so innocent at that time. Okay, so what are we doing? We're about 30 minutes in. Bro, my brain is fried. So let's get into day 2. So day 1, we shot for the way I just went through all of that. We did all of those interviews from 12 to 5. Boom, 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 boom. Had camera set up and down and everything. And it was I was on. I literally hosted a whole segment of a show on the fly. That's someone else's project. I don't know fully where it will all come up, and when it is available or wherever it comes, I will share that. But so I was on 100%. Then after that, still hung out. We went to my car for an hour and decompressed, and then came back in, went to Evan's lecture. So Evan Nathaniel Grimm, my friend, we went to his lecture and he had some incredible stuff to share. So that was Friday night. He went on around, let me see. Okay, look, I'm gonna actually come back to my phone here. Oops. So this is so funny, you guys, because Michelle Freed, I did the event with her with the Dolans, the remote viewing thing. She taught the remote viewing class. So when she was walking in the crowd, I was like, Michelle Freed? And she's like, oh, I can't believe you remembered me.
Michelle Freed. This weekend with the Dolans. Hey, you did a viewing class. You look so different. You're so cute. Oh, you look good there too. You're so cute. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, yeah.
So this happens a lot at the conferences. I look a bit different in person. So we did that event, and I was like, I did all these videos. I was like, Michelle Freed doing the remote viewing class with the Dolans event, all this stuff. So I posted about her a bunch of times in the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, Michelle Freed, hey, it's me. It's me. She's like, oh, hi. And then I was like, it's JK Ultra. We just did the event this weekend with the Dolans. And then she's like, oh my God, you're really tall. You look different in person. So then we went to Evan's event. Evan's lecture. Okay.
Well, so thank you, Shimon. That was very nice.
Okay. Now afterward, there was a party. We're getting glitchy, so I'll just spin through this. Little party, which we were already wiped out. Oh, you saw Leo King walking by? There's Zanka and Coffee from LightNet. They do spoon bending courses. They have a thing called Starseed Academy. There's Ian, who we love. The party continues. Here's Nick Pope. We got to talk to him for a little. I didn't really get an interview. We just caught up for a few. Walking through the crowd. Here's Serena. Serena Taylor. She's an incredible Vedic astrologer. I don't remember if you guys remember last year I said that I hung out with a Vedic astrologer and that she told me that I had just been getting out of an 18-year cycle. So that's her. So then we were heading out for the night to be done for the evening. We said bye to Evan after he was, there's goodbye, good night to Ian. And then I think we were done for the night. And then the next morning, I went to the Gentle Barn with Jim and Nikki and got to pet an emu and all of these things. Look at these goats. Look at the goat. So I don't know what.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Sadly, people.
Look how cute. And then this one was injured, but he wanted scratches. Okay. Literally all these animals. It's crazy. I held a 14-year-old chicken named Tulip. Imagine a chicken that can live to be 14, right? Horses, cows, cow hugging. Gave a little hug to him. That's all going to be on Jim and Nikki's YouTube channel. So we get back to the conference, burnt out, exhausted, ready for day 2. Coming on in. This is us showing this. Okay, the day continues. We get aura photos done. Okay. All right. I'm back. So there you go. There is a little look into what it was. Here's what the aura photo looks like. So primarily orange. You see I have like green dots. And then the woman said that there's like an underlying yellow underneath. So the orange typically means creativity, artisticness, optimism, youthfulness, and independence. The yellow is happiness, warmth, cheerfulness. And then the green little specks are like little healing and little new beginnings and stuff. That's what it says on the back. I'll be 100% honest with you. The woman who did the reading was very geared towards the negative. She opened it with like, And then I have that on here. It's actually funny. Like there's a video of like me and Chelsea talking about it. So as we're getting our aura photos done, Leo King comes up. I'll show you that too. So this is the woman who is doing the reading. But this was the woman. So basically she was just saying that I was very analytical. And then, oh, Sophia and Aurora. Oh. So then as we were doing the aura, this is what's so cool about the conferences too, is that like you just get to spend time with so many people and then.
Of course.
Apparently,
So then they end up getting aura photos done. Baby's first aura photo.
Just heads up. See natural. Yeah, be cool. Be cool. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see
Two
here.
Leos.
No. I'm not. Honestly.
Just cracking up.
I mean, it's a bit of a novelty. With the goggles, people will lose it. Yeah. So
Oh no, you're talking about Planet X this weekend.
literally.
Some Leos cracking up. Look, little baby Aurora's first aura photo. Little sweetheart. And hers looks so similar to mine. And I have the same birthday as David's daughter, Aurora. We have the same birthday. And she had like the same colors in her aura photo. Look at hers in the background there. orange with the green and the yellow.
Wow, so fine.
So, one thing that's really cool about all of that too. So I've been a fan of Leo King, of David Palmer since basically like 2015 when he first started posting on YouTube. Me being a Leo, that was something that I had like looked up, and then I saw the Leo King doing readings and I was like, oh, cool. And he was like the first person to really do these like horoscopes. Like Leos don't get the credit for everything that we should, because sometimes we're very like ahead of the game. We're always like 5 years ahead of like what the trend is, that people actually think you're like kind of out there. But then that ends up being the cool thing, but then we're over it by then, you know? So David was like one of the first people on the internet doing these daily horoscopes or weekly horoscopes, and doing things for the different signs and stuff, just like doing it in this video YouTube format. He was like one of the first people to do that. So I always like credit him kind of with where a lot of these readings and social media astrology came from, because he was like one of like the beginning people to do that. Because before that, it was much older people who did their like long written readings or like long things, and to do these little snippets, like little 5-minute forecast of what's coming up for everybody. So I've always been a fan of David. And then and like I said, when I used to have a podcast in 2013, 14, 15, I had reached out to him then to be a guest on my podcast, and we said we would, but then the timing and stuff didn't work out, and then I ended up stopping the podcast, so we never did that interview. Then last year, our Conscious Life Expo was the first time we actually got to meet in person and do the interview, which then I didn't even end up posting it because it was so complex that I needed more information to get it, because his lecture was a breakdown about Nostradamus's prophecies and discovering Planet X, the 10th planet. The Planet X is different than the Nibiru stuff, but it is kind of similar prophecy to that. But this like new planet, he found this out with his own decoding of the astrological placements compared to the Nostradamus prophecies. He figured out that Nostradamus was saying that we're going to discover a 10th planet. What's crazy is in the Dolores Cannon books, if you remember from my Apocalypse series, from the Dolores Cannon Nostradamus books, they literally say that in the year 2040, we're going to discover a 10th planet. Like, what? You know? So I was like, I couldn't even end up posting it. So then we ended up reconnecting again in Vegas because we both won the same award. And so it was just like so cool that like at these conferences, you also get to kind of like connect with everyone. We all ended up like taking our aura photos together and stuff. And that was great. So that was on Saturday. I was already really energetically wiped out. Like I was very in my Leo-ness on Friday. On Saturday, I was becoming like a shell. So I was so exhausted. And, you know, when you're really exhausted, your guard is down, right? More so. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to end up actually writing more about this in my Substack because it's more aligned with like the stuff I share there with like my own personal journey and these other things that are just more complex that I don't like them to be taken out of context. But I will give you like a little taste of it because I'm not going to be writing it just yet. So I'm worn out. Me and Chelsea are worn out. It was like that Rick and Morty clip that I posted. I'm not even going to play it here because they'll probably give me a copyright thing. But just being completely burnt out at the end of the night and then coming back. I went to the Gentle Barn for like 3 hours in Santa Clarita, then drove back down, got Chelsea, drove another hour to the conference, then was wiped out, did all these things. And then we were just feeling really depleted. And Chelsea's like, damn, let's go check out that kombucha stand downstairs. So on that main floor, let me see if I have actually down in the rabbit hole videos, because the downstairs of the conference had a very different vibe. So we had the upper floor. I'm going to show you guys. And they've been doing it at this same location for like 25 years. This was like the 25th anniversary or something like that. So you see, this is the top floor. Then you have a main floor, and then you have a rabbit hole.
Wow. Ooh. Mm. Oh, I see a rabbit.
So then there's a whole bunch of other booths down here, but these are more psychics and more people that are doing individual readings, smaller booths and stuff like that. Then we walk down this hallway where there's more exhibits and workshops. And then, isn't it crazy? This has all been filmed through these Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Hello. Wow, look at this cool art.
So then we enter into this main room here, and then there's actually like more lectures down in the basement, and these ones are more like truth seekers, freedom fighters, vaccine stuff, conspiracy stuff. That's the type of lectures that are down here in the rabbit hole. This is a guy. These are.
Oh.
It's sugar.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
It tastes like sugar, but it's made from mushrooms. So we put a little bit on our tongues.
Wow. Well, it is a little tingly. A little medicinal, honestly.
It's like honey.
It had the consistency of like.
Sound guys, and then see right about here was right actually the second things started to get weird. Went back upstairs. Okay, that was some coffee readings, people who read coffee cups. Okay, so see where we went, that little kombucha stand with those sound guys and stuff, right there. Then Chelsea wanted to get some kombucha, and so we're down there. She's waiting in line, and she's like, look at this guy behind the counter at the kombucha stand. She's like, he's just in his own world, having his best life or whatever, you know, living his best life. And I look, I'm like, oh yeah, I look, and I'm like, and it literally looks exactly 100% like my ex-boyfriend, the one that I wrote about on my Substack in the part 2, the one who, you know, became possessed and had all this downfall. As far as the update of that, as far as I know, he became homeless after. You know, I know a lot of people wanted like updates and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to end up posting like a full update with that, but just because I know a lot of the people here were asking about the updates. So I don't know what the state is now. He has like a good family who has helped him in the situation, but he also doesn't want help. So I turn and I see this guy who looks identical, 110%, the same face, the same everything, the same head, sitting there like this, kind of with the kombucha, like writing on the jar, like just kind of in his own world, not paying attention. And the line's not moving. But he's just like joyful. And it like hits me. I'm like, oh, because it looks like my ex, but like a higher timeline, like this timeline split where he went in one direction and this was, you know, I don't know. I do believe still everything works out for the highest good, but I don't know how it could in that situation. But then this other thing was kind of probably like the highest timeline that he could have ended up on, which he could have just continued with the healing, ended up maybe having some type of, I don't know, a kombucha brand or something like that. And so it hits me. I see him and I'm like, and then I look at Chelsea. She's like, oh, dude, you got to go like take a lap or something. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's just overwhelmed me. I can't even look at him. So, and I'm already like broken down, exhausted. I couldn't get to sleep after the first day talking to like hundreds of people. Your body's on. So like I was going to sleep on Friday night, but like, and eyes were closed and I was having visuals, but I wasn't actually asleep. It was like the worst in between state. And then I had to wake up super early to go to the Gentle Barn and film with Jim and Nikki. So then I was just like on like 2.5, 3 hours of sleep. And this was already now at like 7, 8 o'clock at night or so, you know, maybe like 6 o'clock at night that then this happens. And I'm like, oh God, I'm just too weak to hide my emotions and pain. And then the energy down in the rabbit hole was very like underbelly, was very like shadow work, was very like the parts of yourself that you don't want to look at. And I have a lot more to say about this because this kind of thing started a a week before, this kind of precursor to this energy that came up at that time. So I start doing laps around the rabbit hole thing because there was only one person in line in front of Chelsea. So then I come around again, and it seems almost like there's another person in line, and she's still second. And I'm like, okay, well, what the heck? I go around again, and then it looks like she's still second in line. It looks like there's all these other two girls in front of her. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I like walk over, and I see this woman like doing iridology, which is like when they read your iris, they read, and so I see her, and I'm like, oh, interesting. She comes up and she's like, are you interested in getting a reading? And I was like, I don't know. And then these two people walk up, a mother and her son seemed maybe about 18, give or take, a little younger, maybe a little bit older, probably a little younger, socially awkward, maybe a little autistic seeming. And I was like, are you guys going to get a reading? And then the woman's like, no, this is how I met this person. And like the boy's name was like Noah or something. And she's like, that's how I met so-and-so and Noah. And I was like, oh, okay. You've done it before. And she's like, oh yes, he has a healer's eyes. He has very healing eyes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I look into this kid's eyes, this like person Noah's eyes, and he's like kind of looking all around, like not really like looking me in the face. And I kind of like thought this was like kind of maybe like a social awkwardness, which fine, nothing against it, just observing it, not lying to my own eyes. And I look into his eyes because she says he has these healing eyes, and I look into them and I'm like, like I literally was like, this kid saw into my fucking soul, dude. I didn't even have enough energy to guard myself psychically from this seer. This seer was seeing me. This seer was seeing me for things that I couldn't even see in myself. So I was like, oh, this guy's kind of a little socially awkward. Maybe like shifty eyes, not like looking at me in the eyes. But then he's like looking at me, and it almost looks like, God, like, dude, I can't even. I had an existential crisis with this freaking kid's healer's eyes. She wasn't lying. So, like, I'm looking at this kid's eyes. He's looking, and it kind of feels like he's not shifting his eyes only out of being socially awkward. He's shifting his eyes out of like, looks like he's like looking at my like auric field. And I just had like these horrible emotions come up where I'm like, damn, that's my ex-boyfriend. If he didn't completely destroy himself and his whole life, this higher timeline. So all these like emotions came up, and then I walked over and I saw this freaking kid, and he stares into my soul, and he's like, and I'm looking at him like, what the heck is this kid seeing? And it's like he was looking at like almost like my auric field, and like it looked like it felt like this kid was looking like he walked in on me naked. That's how exposed I felt. And then on top of it, not just that he walked in on me naked and was like, he didn't like what he saw, he looked horrified. So he was like looking at my soul and was scared. So I was like, what the heck? So I'm like, and I'm worn down. I've been with all of these people that I don't get along with. I felt like those I'm leaving out of the story, but there's like a couple people where like, oh, do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, I do know so-and-so. Because you know what? I'm not going to do that LA fake shit. If we have something going, I'm going to be like, I'm still from Jersey. We don't like each other. Sorry, we don't vibe. So I had those things. It was like everything popping up. And when you're in these places with all these healers and like thousands of crystals and like a whole Moldavite stand, and it's stargates and all of these like energy devices and people good and bad and everything, and you're just like already worn down, broken down, energetically wiped, and then this kid looks into your fucking soul. And I was like, so I look back at the iridology woman like, what the heck? What is with this kid? And then she's like, He's the silent type. So I look back at him and I look into his eyes again and I'm like, and I like run away. I'm like, fucking dude. I like trying to find Chelsea. And she comes running up and she's like, dude, what the fuck is going on down here? We gotta go. I don't know what's going on at that kombucha stand. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This freaking kid, go, go, go. So we like start running and we like run up the stairs and like get back upstairs and we're like, what the heck is going on in this fucking place? I'm scared. So then we like go and I'm like, I know a spot. I know a spot. So because it's in a hotel, there's still like rooms, like hotel rooms and stuff. So I kind of went to like a little section off of like where the conference is, more of like going towards like more the hotel part, like a desolate hallway where the ceiling was actually caving in. It was just kind of like a random hallway. And I was like, let's sit down. Let's sit here. So then we start like decompressing and we're laying, I think I actually have some video, but so we start decompressing and kind of unloading. And this is like, and I'm telling her about this guy, like kind of looking at my auric field and whatever. And this is what I'm going to get into the Substack is kind of this led to, okay. So then after that, we end up sitting in this thing, some guy that was kind of trying to do a healing on me before, but I was like, I'm not gonna just let some random dude do a healing on me. Like, I don't fucking know you. And also, no offense to any men listening, but men are naturally think they're experts at stuff. So like the vibe I was getting from this guy is like, what did you learn how to be a healer 6 months ago? And now, not that you can't be a healer, that's great instantly, but like, you're just kind of, I feel like this is just, I'm getting a creepy vibe that happened earlier. Now we're hiding off into this hallway and the guy comes up doing a healing on a girl right next to us who's dressed all in red for the Chinese New Year. She seemed to have a good time, but it was also just like everything. It was like that was bringing up all different stuff for me. It was like, and then we end up leaving the conference, which I missed out on the coolest thing ever. Ian was calling me and was inviting me to stuff. And I was like, I am wiped out. This kid took my fucking shadow self, did things deep inside of me and mirrored it back to me. And now I need to go deal with this and I need to go deal with my own shadow. And I need to leave this conference right now. Ian calls me to invite me. I'm like, telling me like, I'll be back tomorrow. I can't do it. Well, guess what I missed out on when I came back the next day? A bunch of people got together in one of the speakers' hotel rooms and everybody was hanging out. Moulton Howe, Bashar, everyone was like gathered around, sitting on the bed, sitting on the floor, talking about their initial awakenings and all of these like private stories and deep things that have been life-changing for them. Linda talking about one of her first spiritual experiences that she had that actually led her to doing this work, something that she's never talked about publicly. I really missed out on the party, but I had nothing, like I was. So then on that point, then I get a call from Jim and Nikki and they're like, do you want to go to dinner? So we end up going to Beverly Hills and we go to La Scala and we all have a final dinner, Jim and Nikki and Jim's manager and his wife and the camera operator that they've been with and me and Chelsea. And it was like this weird communion because that's like, Jim is like soul family. So then having Chelsea and Jim and Chelsea come into like this part of my world that, you know, because they don't live here, she hasn't got to meet some of my like really close friends in that way. So then it ends up like, and I mean, Jim and I dated like 15 or more years ago. So this is like over almost like 2 decades of my life. Converging with my friend now who just converged with my JK Ultra life, converged with, and then since we were right across from my old job, Wally's, the restaurant Wally's, I was like, let's pop in and just say hi. And it was like a long line outside or whatever. And I was like, oh, and then one of the hostesses was like, oh, no, let her come in. So I came in and like said hi to everyone for like 20 minutes and like hugged all these different people. And everyone's like, oh my God, we're so proud of you for like, you know, doing what you're doing. And, you know, we know how when you quit here, because that was the job that I quit in April of 2021, when I was like, I didn't think I was going to be doing this, but I knew that I needed to walk on a timeline away from that and that lifestyle that I had been living with that work, you know, where I wanted to do work that was more aligned with my passion. And so they were all people who were there when I was like, look, dude, there's 2 timelines. I cannot live on this timeline. I'm starting another timeline. So then I went and I like hugged. So throughout the whole thing, I had already like hugged and talked to and interviewed like thousands of people, then go back with like my friends and soul family, ex-boyfriend and his wife and all of this stuff, and all of these close people in my life together, then going to my old coworkers, my old life. So we get it back in the car. We're driving and I like look over at Chelsea. I start getting kind of like the intuitive thing, like, you can't drive, you can't drive, you can't drive. And I was like, are you okay to, and this is after I had also that guy see, like, look like he was looking like I had demons in my fucking auric field. I had already been broken down. This was like all one day. And I had already started at the Gentle Barn and done all this stuff and been in so many hours of traffic and everything. And now it was like, like 11 o'clock at night, and I had been going since 7 o'clock in the morning, and then like 14 hours the day before, 16 hours of traveling. It was like, and I was like, all casual. I'm like, Chels, could you drive? Are you okay to drive? She's like, yeah, sure. I get to the passenger seat and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I was just like, she's like, okay, tell me what you're feeling. I was like, the last 20 years of my life just merged and everything, all these different versions of myself, all these different timelines, all these different relationships, friendships, lives, jobs. I was like, ah! It was like beyond overstimulated. I was like literally, and then with that kid seeing that like kind of energy on me, I was like, oh man, all my trauma, all my shit, all my stuff was like coming up. And Chelsea's like, oh my God, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't know all of this. I'm like, how would you know? I have a 0-degree Scorpio rising. How would you know? How would you know all of this? And then she's like, and as you know, my friend Chelsea not only is an icon and amazing and wonderful in every way. And like I said in the beginning of this, if you're in LA tomorrow, February 14th, Valentine's Day, come to the Bourbon Room at 9 p.m. They're doing a show, $15 at the door, 21 plus. They're celebrating the lover's archetype. And it's going to be incredible. And I so want to support her. And the way she supported me this entire weekend, not just being her POV and letting all of you guys on Instagram follow along live with the meta glasses, but then I'm in the car and I'm like crying, telling her all these things, saying all this like, and I have no guard left because I've already been, all the guard is gone with the exhaustion already when the day started. So I was already raw. And even that before that, I've been raw all week because Jim and Nikki were in town and we were filming stuff for their YouTube. And I was like, let's talk about interesting stuff. Let's talk about our relationship. Let's talk about the drama. Let's talk about like the breakup and all of this, you know? So I already had a lot of stuff stirred up all weekend and had already been pushing myself a lot. But I'm like spewing all of this stuff up. And Chelsea, many gifted, many talents. She is also a shaman. And shaman, as you guys know, is not just like a specific person, like a medicine man or something like that, or a chosen one. It's a methodology that is present in all different cultures, a methodology of working in the astral, walking between realms, working with the non-physical world, and working with soul retrieval and all of these things. So after I was just like that Rick and Morty thing where after they almost died, I'm like, I was not in control back there. I'm freaking overwhelmed. This is my whole life. This is like every different part of myself fusing. And then I was like seeing kind of like what that kid saw, those freaking seer with his seeing eyes. What he saw was kind of like, and like I talked about in, I talked about it at some point, I don't know where. Brittany Bento, my friend, she did a video on her YouTube about demons and how she was like kind of possessed by a demon or whatever. And she talked about how like now she realizes that a demon is not a separate entity. She realizes that a demon is actually a part of yourself that is a wound, or yeah, it's a wound and it doesn't get any love. And it kind of over time a little bit becomes a monster. And then certain times throughout your life, thing can feed that monster, and it can become powerful enough that it almost becomes like takes over the personality in a way. And even like when you watched my Rhythmia series and I talked about my friend that I met, the one that he was like the big Texan guy, how on the first night of Rhythmia, when he had a healing, like an exorcism type stuff, that some people saw a brown entity come out of him. And the next day he talked about how there was a brown parasite that had been living on his heart since he was a child. And that he realized that this parasite was not like this outside entity. It was actually because the way that when his sister was born, because his family didn't have enough money, they gave all of his stuff to the sister, but he was still a baby too. And that's a wound that I have as well, because my brother is only a year younger than me. And, but there's a lot to it and different things, but my wound is, so, which that's stuff I'm gonna talk about on the Substack and even coming up in my book that will be coming out next year. But like, when that kid looked at me, it was almost like I saw that like a part of myself that was wounded from childhood had like kind of grown into this like kind of calcified presence, this dark feminine presence that kind of is afraid to be vulnerable, is ruthless, is very like so basically like all of these aspects. And I was like, as this was all spewing out and everything, and it was kind of almost like, our demons are like these parts of ourselves that are not loved, that can become empowered. And like in the ways that this thing has become empowered, it's like the parts of myself that didn't allow me to feel certain emotions, or the parts of myself that didn't allow me to have compassion. Instead, I would have a reaction or anger or frustration instead of having understanding and compassion. That has grown into these things that have kind of become the hardness of my personality that I've been trying to work down the layers of. And it seems like the ayahuasca and all of this stuff has worked down the layers of kind of this harshness and this guard and this thing that I've had up for most of my life. And for the last 20 years have been working on, softening myself and getting closer to love, getting closer to God, becoming a better person, becoming better with the universe. And it was almost like at that point that I was so exhausted and so broken down and so going through all of this journey of the ayahuasca and stuff. And it was like, damn, that's what this was. This feeling like, how I've been saying that with the ayahuasca, I felt like hermit mode after a little bit. And I felt like I needed to be private, and I felt like anxiety. And I was like, damn, like kind of like my sensors that I wasn't having anxiety before. It's almost like I have sensors to it now. And I know I've said this on the lives a couple times recently, and that almost is like this underbelly feeling, that thing, that presence, that part of me that is still a wound that has still not fully been healed because it has become so much that it becomes your personality. Like Joe Dispenza says, your personality is a series of patterns. Actually, your personality is actually not what you think. What you believe your personality to be is a series of patterns, actually. And that's exactly what this is. These were a series of patterns of me kind of shutting down my emotions and not letting myself be hurt by things, because I was hurt by a lot of things. So then I was kind of like unhurtable. When I was younger, I like literally couldn't cry. Even like throughout that whole thing of that like big breakdown Saturday night, at the end of the night, with all of this coming up and Chelsea driving the car back home, and then like kind of letting me talk all of this stuff through that was coming up so intensely. Even in that, she's like, dude, like you need to work on this stuff with crying. She's like, you have shared such intense, extreme stuff, and like you can barely cry. Like you have almost like, it's so little tears. And I'm like, I know. It's like, so like these things, like that's kind of a personality thing, is that I'm strong, I'm tough, I can handle stuff, I'm cool under pressure, I've got nerves of steel. All of these things, these are personality traits. These are things that have made me strong in my mind. But in a way, these are almost like my own demons, my own demon that guy saw, that has been shaping my personality, and in a way even prevents me from feeling certain things. Like okay, what? The fear of being hurt should prevent me from the fear of feeling the fullness of life too. You know, so that shit fucking brought up a lot of stuff when you're in these places with all these healers and these crystals and these goddamn stargates and all this stuff. It goes so crazy. Oh, Haley, you're a Scorpio rising too? Oh, now I understand. I understand the depth and the way that we present to the world as Scorpio risings, you know? But yeah, so I was wiped out. Chelsea could not come back for Sunday. That was about all that could be handled. And she also had a lot of breakthroughs. I'm just not going to share all her breakthroughs. She had crazy breakthroughs too. Crazy catharsis. And then I had conversations with other friends, some that were speakers, some that were just guests. Everybody was like, ugh. So then Sunday comes. We're over our time, but I don't care. So Sunday comes and we meet. I'm there alone. I've revived a bit. And then I go back to the GFL booth, which the GFL, the clothing brand, there's a link below. Should have a code there. I think it's JK Ultra 10 or something if you want to get anything from GFL. But they're an amazing brand. I love them, family brand. And they were just like the home base, the mothership of the conference. Like, kept meeting all of like our online friends, also like a lot of the like younger community there. We all kind of know each other. And also a lot of us know each other through the GFL. So we were all at that booth, Elizabeth April and Sarah Brooksman Cosme, Althea coming there. It was everyone. You're bumping into everybody at the GFL booth. So then on Sunday, I went to hang out and kind of decompress and talk to them about my experience, that I just had like a crazy like catharsis. And now I realize I basically like need to still like work, and I don't have the energy to be healed from all of that stuff that came up on Saturday. It was just for it to come to the surface and bubble up. But now I still need to like work on it. Chelsea can help me because, you know, she does know how to do those type of clearings and stuff. But it also takes work from my side. You can't just clear these things energetically and spiritually. You need to psychologically deal with them. You need to deal with them in the traditional sense too. Maybe not like talk therapy, but the fundamentals of psychology and human health and mental health and stuff like that. So I need to process some of that stuff in addition to doing a healing and clearing to really energetically, because I really feel like that was like that freaking seer damn kid saw me. So then it's funny, I go to the GFL booth and I'm telling them about my experience and I'm like, this is so intense. And I'm like telling Tavel from GFL, and I'm like, and then as I'm telling her the story, she keeps kind of like, and like I'm talking to her, but she keeps looking off to the side. And like, I look off to the side too when she's looking. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you seeing over there? Who is it? And then I'm like, that's the guy. That's the guy. That's him. Don't look at his eyes. So that kid walked by and he kind of like didn't want to look at me either. And I was like, oh God, don't look in his eyes. But then I like kind of saw him passing through the clothing rack. And at the end, he just kind of like gave me one last good look. And I was like, ugh. So it was funny, intense. I was hanging out there. Then Brianna, who does light language, I think her name is Brianna Mystic on Instagram. Just a super sweet, cute, adorable, lovely angel who she also works with the GFL too. She was wearing her full starseed outfit. And then her friend is Kristen Such, who that I just met. She's on TikTok, Instagram, all of that stuff. And even though I had already like kind of messaged back and forth with Brianna, it was the first time that we met. And then Kristen, that was the first time we met. But the three of us, by the third day, you're already like so purified that you're like, okay. And then I just we literally all just like went into all of our stuff, poured out all of our private stuff, told everything, the shadow work, our fears, our lessons, our this, our that. And we're just like pouring it out in like this little circle at the GFL booth. And everyone's like, it was like a clearing and everybody's saying exactly the things that the other needs to see and hear. And then I start telling them a little bit about like what I posted about in my Substack in part 2 about my ex and how this whole thing came up yesterday on Saturday because I saw the guy at the freaking kombucha stand that looked like the higher timeline of him. And I was like, my life was ripped to shreds with this breakup. It was like crazy. I can't even imagine what the reality reality was. And Kristen says, she looks at Brianna and she's like, oh shit, that sounds like a fucking Stargate. And I was like, how did you know that? How did you know that? How did you know that? She's like, oh, the healer that did that 5D activation on you a couple days before your entire life fell apart and you felt like you were viciously shifting timelines and hit rock bottom and everything 6 months before you ended up posting on TikTok and then your whole life changed. She's like, oh, that guy, he did work with the Stargate? It sounds like it. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? So apparently the Stargate energy, like people who work with these Stargates, and really what they are is like kind of like copper or brass or something. And they're just these kind of like sacred geometry type of things that are welded together. And that was what that alien Reiki healer dude from the Substack, that was what he used. He used a thing called a Stargate. And yes, when I told her all this fucked up stuff happened, she was like, oh, that sounds like, she looked at Brianna and was like, sounds like some fucking Stargate shit. And I was like, it actually was. How did you know that? That is insane. So then she was like, there's one here. There's a giant one that you can stand under. I'm like, girl, I don't want to go near that shit ever again. But then again, oh, sometimes it sucks to go to the higher timeline. Sometimes the transition between timelines is rough. So we talked and everything, and then we went over to the Stargate. We didn't go under it. We just stared at it from a distance, and we were like, okay, just maybe like a little residual Stargate energy. Let me tell you one last thing. Mr. Whitley Strieber. Sorry, I froze for a second in my brain, not on screen. Okay, so then here.
And you can go on there and get my books. I wish I had someone here to sell. I ended up pretty much alone in the situation I'm in, which is to not. Okay, I know they said no. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. How the propulsion system.
So it was so amazing because I wanted to, then Sunday morning I got in, had to get some coffee in the little coffee shop, bumped into Ian. Then we were all like, we need to go see Whitley Strieber speak. Right before, I didn't actually get it signed. I wanted to, but I didn't take advantage of the situation as good as I should have. I should have done it. I should have just asked him at that moment. But before I left Sunday morning, as you can still see, one of the books has still fallen over. Where is it? Right there. One of the books is still sideways. Those books fell over. And it was this, 1984, and Heal Your Body by Louise Hay. It was like an actual bang. I was like, what the heck was that? And I looked over and I was like, oh, right. Bring Whitley's book because I'm going to get to meet him in person. I want him to sign the book. So then I was trying to get into his lecture. But I wanted to, full disclosure, I wanted to get a free pass to cover it with my media pass because I had a media pass. So sometimes I could get access to some of the keynote speakers for free when they have tickets available still. Not all of them, but I could pick like one or two, And so I wanted to go see Whitley. So I went over to the press woman and was kind of like asking her if I could get a pass for Whitley. And she's like, hold on, let me call my boss. And just at that moment, Whitley walks up and I'm like, oh, here he is, the man of the hour. And I was like, and he's like, can you tell me where this room is that I'm speaking in? And she's like, oh. And then I was like, Whitley, I'll take you there. So I start walking him over and I'm like, oh, it's so great to meet you in person. He's like, oh yeah, sure. Hi. Yeah. And then I'm like, and then he's like, what media do you work for? And I was like, Whitley, you interviewed me. I'm JKUltra. And then I interviewed you. Remember on my TikTok? And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. This happens to me all the time. People are always, when they meet me in person, are like, I don't know, think I'm someone else. And then some people don't. Like when I met Brianna, she was like, oh, girl, you look exactly 100% like you do the same on the internet. I don't know what it is. So then we walked Whitley over to the to his lecture, and it was so awesome. He talked about his book Them, which I actually read, so I was familiar with a lot of the stories that were in that book. So what else? So that was that. What, Sunday night I ended up leaving, and then yeah, then Monday I came back. We did the interview with Linda. Then we got dinner. That was wonderful. And now here I am, Tuesday. And so there's a couple of things that are going to be coming up for me. It's official, December 14th to 21st, I'm going to be speaking at a lecture, which is also a cruise. I don't know what the prices are. I think it is around like, I think it's around like $2,000, which is a 7-day cruise. We're going to sacred sites. We're going to sacred sites in the Yucatan, in Belize, and in Honduras. It's like everything included, all inclusive. And then I'm one of the speakers. Sarah Brexman Cosme is also one of the speakers. I don't have the full lineup yet. I know Alan Steinfeld is one. There's going to be a couple of different people. So I'm going to be getting more details about that. So we're going to be going to all of these sacred sites. So if you're planning on doing some type of big vacation or something this year, why not do a vacation with a bunch of spiritual people? Because these conferences, that was a 3-day, a little bit of a 4th-day conference. And I feel like I shifted 150 timelines and had all of this stuff brought up that I need to heal and is going to work on. And I'm going to be cleared to go to the next stage of purification, to be an even better channel and a better vessel for this information and for this life and for what I'm doing and living in my purpose and all of this stuff. These shifts of being at these conferences, even when I'm just there, I was there as media, but I was there as a guest. I wasn't speaking, just going and interacting and talking and hearing all of these people's lectures and all of that. Like, it shifts you. It shifts your timelines. So if you guys are thinking about doing some like big vacation or winter vacation for either a solo trip, because there's going to be a lot of cool people there that are going to be into the same stuff, that are also traveling alone. And it's not going to be, from what I know, we're not going to be mixing with other cruise people. It's only going to be people that are part of the conference. So everybody that's going to be going is people that are aligned with this information, or the speakers themselves. We're all going to be on the same cruise. So it'll be like a 7-day little hangout with some of your favorite people and maybe some of your new friends. And then when we go to the sacred places, the tours are held by locals who know those sacred places. So when we go to the Yucatan, it's going to be with locals who live there, who can show us stuff, and they know that we're doing a galactic origins. So some of the stuff is actually geared towards some of the artifacts that look a little bit more UFO-like, a little bit more alien-like, taking to the different sacred spots that are connected more with alien galactic community stuff. So I'm so excited for that. If you guys are going to do this, you need to use my link, okay? Because if enough people come using my link, then I can bring Chelsea with me. And so if you're going to go anyway, if you want to come and you're going to go anyway, make sure that you use my link, because if I reach a certain amount, then I get to bring my friend with me. And then if you're coming, we get to hang out with my friend too, and we have a great time. And also, I would just love for her to get to experience these sacred spots, because I know it's like a major activation. It's a major activation for us all, like all of these like starseed people, to go to like the Yucatan, to go to like some sacred site and go into a pyramid. So if you're going, please use my link, which I don't have my links yet. So start thinking about it. I don't have the prices or information yet. It's going to be $2,000. And then there's another conference before I go, since we're on the topic, which is the New Disclosure Fest, the Mass Meditation Initiative, Stairway to the Stars again. So it's going to be the summer solstice. So for the winter solstice, I'm going to be on the cruise. That's December 24th to the 21st. So we come back on the solstice, start our new lives of the new timeline. And then on the summer solstice, June 21st to 23rd, in Castaic Lake, California. Castaic Lake, California. It's about 30 minutes outside of LA. And here's the lineup. Bashar's going to be there. Julia Cannon, Adam Apollo, Leo King. I'm going to be speaking. A bunch of other people. Let's see. Plenty people that are going to be here. Also, there's going to be healing tents. And it's also a music festival. So this is going to be June 21st to 23rd. Obviously these are going to be a little bit of a different, this one is on a lake too. So this is going to be like a mass meditation conference, musical festival on a lake, 30 minutes outside of LA. So that's at disclosurefest.org. So those are the things that I will be working with, presenting with. I might also be coming to, what are the cruise dates again? So that's going to be December 14th to 21st. Are kids allowed from 2 to 5 years old? I'm not fully sure yet. I'm going to check out. I'm going to get that information and get back to you, let you know. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to show you guys from the conference. I think that's a good, yeah, that was a good mix of all the stuff that happened. Well, guys, thanks for coming on this journey with me. And Castaic Lake. Thanks, Shauna. Oh, and guys, one more thing. And this is not official yet. I'm actually going to be putting my own conference together in May, which is online. So you guys will all get to attend no matter where you are. And people who are already paid subscribers on my Substack, you guys are going to get a discount on the tickets also. So there'll be a little discount for you guys. And that guy, I am going to be putting together some names. I don't want to reveal anyone yet because I haven't fully gotten everyone's confirmation, but it's going to be a conference that I'm going to be picking my favorite people, mostly from TikTok. So think about some of the people that we know and love who are other TikTokers who are very similar to me, who are in a similar space doing similar things. People that I think should be speaking at these conferences, but there's kind of a disconnect at the conferences. As much as I love them and have fun, at least like some of these, like the Conscious Life Expo, the younger people, like the people that we love from TikTok, like Nick Zai or like Marco J. Williams or people like that, or Brittany Bento and people like that we love, or Ian from Cancel This Clothing Company, Evan Nathaniel Grimm, people like that, like we don't see them as much at these conferences. This was the first time that Evan was at one. So I wanted to put an online conference together with all of my favorite people that are in like the same kind of crew where we all kind of came up on TikTok together. And I'm really excited to do that. I still have to get confirmations on everyone, and then tickets for that will go on sale. And they're going to be affordable. They're not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be worth it for all of your favorites together. Like I said, my paid Substack subscribers are going to get a discount to the event. And that's going to be probably the first week of May. So if you went to the event with the Dolans, that is going to be the same. Organizers are going to be helping me because they did it so smooth. That was like literally the smoothest I've ever, it was smoother than my own Zooms. And all of you guys who are my Substack subscribers, paid Substack subscribers, this Sunday coming up, we are doing the past life regression and future life progression with the Dolores Cannon group QHHT method. So keep an eye open for that. I'm going to be catching up on things over the next couple days. And thank you guys. Love you so much. And I will see you soon. You're from New York City and we need a JK Ultra conference. Woo! I actually would love to do something in New York too. That would be fun. Okay, guys, I love you. Have a great night. And you were thinking of Ian and Brittany. Yes, those are the people who popped into my head too. That would be so much fun. Okay, so see you guys next Tuesday.